And welcome to Chartwise Women. This is Ellen McGonagle here with Erin Swenlin each and every Thursday afternoon, where we bring to you our wealth of wisdom over our many years studying the markets and educating individuals how to capitalize on trends and ultimately outperform the markets. And certainly a trend that we are going to be talking about today, I think, is going to be exciting. Yeah. How are you doing, Erin? Are you
I'm doing pretty
just?
good. I did get my first vaccine. Glad to have gotten it, but I'm
Mhm.
I'm a little ragged today. So
Oh, well, we'll take it easy on you. How's that?
thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh my goodness, yes, and I'm fully vaccinated now as well. Generally, that tiredness, that's what really took over for a little bit, but
Mhm.
otherwise, not too bad. So hopefully you'll snap
Yeah,
out of it soon.
trying to figure out when that pharmacist punched me in the arm because I don't really remember that.
Yeah. So yes, that arm soreness, you want to make sure you don't get your vaccine in your dominant arm so that you can at least function for the
Yes,
next day or two.
absolutely. I
Uh,
did do the left. That was
Good.
good.
Very wise. Yeah, so let's talk about what we're going to be reviewing today. It's going to be all about the reopening of America. And of course, it's taking place at different paces depending on where you reside. Aaron and I out here in California, they are going to be reopening pretty much everything very soon. So a lot of movement in the markets in response to that as people not only get ready for this, now being able to get out of your sweatpants, but also with
Oh,
a
darn.
I know, shoot. Um, but also with a focus on where people are anticipating and where we're going to see that reopening really propel growth. So lots of interesting areas and how you can get to these stocks as well that we are going to be covering today. But as always, let's go ahead and start with our wisdom of the week as it relates. And I know Aaron and I agreed on this, certainly concept that is very real, that when you are on the prowl for stocks poised to outperform, it's important to keep in mind that the broader markets and investors, certainly institutional investors, they tend to look forward at least one. In many cases, they're looking out 2 quarters to see where that growth is going to not only materialize, but also be sustained. And that, Aaron, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we do. We talk a lot about how the markets do look forward. And I think a great example was, of course, when we were coming out of that bear market, some of these areas were really starting to outperform at that time because people were thinking about the reopening. Now, of course, we thought it would happen a bit sooner than it did. So that's when, that's why we got that ratcheting up out of that bear market low. But now it looks like they pulled back and now it's time for another move.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we're in a nice period here, a nice sweet spot as tech is joining the other areas. But today we are going to be focusing more on consumer related stocks, a lot of vibrancy there. So with an eye toward looking out to the future for potential sustainable growth. Yeah, so let's get started with some of the areas that we are going to be sharing. And that, of course, is a review of what we are calling the reopening trade. So I'm just going to share a couple of charts with you here and give you a sense of what we are going to be really keying in on. So first up, we can take a look at a stock that was a very big winner, certainly during the pandemic as people were quarantine, lockdown, and meetings, educational schooling had to take place remotely. So we're looking at Zoom. ZM is the ticker symbol. We can see this extensive move. And then as the concept, certainly around the time of the vaccine announcement, Zoom did fall out of favor and it is still very much an underperformer. So that would be viewed certainly as old school. And from here, I'll just go ahead and share with you an example of a stock that is more tuned into that reopening concept. This is Planet Fitness, pretty well known, actually an area where you can go work out, a gym that is seeing real vibrancy. And in fact, today we have that nice outside bullish candle where it's an engulfing candle where the stock had an area today where it was lower than the close yesterday, and it is poised to close well above the high from yesterday. So that is a bullish engulfing candle. Big volume characteristics, and the stock's up about 4.7%, but I view it as very indicative of this move into recovery as people get more used to the concept that we are going to be gradually reopening, and there may be even some excitement. Erin, I don't know if you had
So I know we had talked about Peloton. That was kind of another one that was a stay-at-home kind of winner. Curious to see what that stock looks like right now.
Yes, that's a good point. That's another one that is in the throes of potentially reversing its recent downtrend. Another big winner out of the pandemic as people were not able to work out publicly, so they purchase Peloton at home. Now, I will tell you the difference here. This could very well reverse its downtrend. We can see that the RSI is positive up here above 50, and then also the MACD had that positive crossover, poised to turn positive as well. The difference here, as opposed to a one-off product purchase, Peloton's primary revenue source is subscription based, and they have sold an awful lot of Pelotons. So these subscriptions are expected to be ongoing. So we could very well see a nice downtrend reversal here with Peloton.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in addition to that initial product purchase, I believe it's about 3,500. Then from there is that monthly fee that is also part of their revenue model.
Yeah, you don't just get the bike, then you kind of have to sign up for a little bit more to make it really useful.
You're absolutely right.
But what a great business model for them.
Absolutely. Yes. I believe from here, we are going to be how you can get to these hotspots. So Erin, if you want to start and then I can follow up, we want to share with you, because there are these bright spots that are picking up and emerging, sharing with you ways that you can uncover those stocks and really drill down and see where they are.
All right. So we do this a lot, but I think it bears repeating, is going straight to that sector summary from the dashboard on StockCharts.com, because it's great to see all of these, but I love to go and see where is that strength? Where have we seen it? The last week, as you can see, technology, communication services, discretionary, all of these areas have really been breaking out, looking great. I mean, in fourth place is utilities, and you can see it's quite a difference between third and fourth place here. So these areas were really looking good. And of course, we're concentrating a lot on consumer discretionary.
Right. And there we are, up front and center, up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Over the last week, up over 4.5%. But
and the day, actually, let's do intraday. Here we go. And we'll do it by the percent change.
Yeah. So
much better.
Right. So those
apparel, broadline, travel, tourism, these are all those areas that are showing that current strength that you can see. Now, some of them aren't, their technical ranks aren't quite up there. But honestly, when you get into something with a scooter at about 70 to about 80, that mid-range is usually a really great place to look, because there's a lot of room for improvement, if you will, but not so much as something so low like specialized consumer services. That's pretty low as far as a technical rank, and it would have to do a lot more work. You can see right there is a double bottom, but it pulled back. And then when we look at these apparel retailers, look at that beautiful breakout. So that's where you go. Then you can start looking at what's interesting you here.
Yeah, we'll be covering some of those names.
Yep, and I did a scan too, so we can do that later, but I did come up with some stocks, and I know you have some stocks too.
I do, absolutely, yes. And one other quick area that we can just drill down into industrials, looking at the performance over the last week, if you don't mind, while we're here. And what you'll see are airline stocks up there at the forefront. And these airline stocks have been on the move for quite some time. They're a little more visible as far as conceptually that people are going to begin traveling more. And then, of course, from there, you can drill down. There are a couple of outliers that are real winners. I would point out Southwest Air and a couple of others that are names that certainly, at the very least, you should be aware of. Yeah,
Yes,
so that's
absolutely.
all
And this is
right.
the best thing. You can just go right through here, hover over the symbol, and get a quick look just to see what the setup is. Like Southwest that you mentioned, I like that. You can see that it broke out. It's pulling back in a natural way that what you expect, right down to that support level. So good stuff.
Very good, very good. All right, so if you'd like, I can go ahead and dig in and take a look at some of these retail stocks. I'll share perhaps maybe 3 or 4 and pass the baton back to you, if you will. So let's take a look. This is Erin was showing us the S&P sectors. And then from there, we did go into consumer discretionary. Now we're looking at those apparel retail stocks. And for this show, I actually did quite a bit of research yesterday and wish that I could have shared it with you yesterday, because a lot of these stocks that I'm going to be talking about up here in the forefront are having, they're continuing to outperform here. So let's just go ahead and start with Abercrombie and Fitch. And those of you that in the 90s, you were actively a consumer, you would certainly know this particular stock. And boy, has it come back into play. This is that, you're going to see this with a lot of recovery stocks that on that November 9th vaccine announcement date, a lot of them did have gaps up. But what we can see here is that it's continuation rally, all about the stock being upgraded. It's trading at 37. There's a $46 price target on the stock. They're looking for a 30 to 40% year over year growth. This is management talking about that. Let's go back to that list, because Abercrombie does have clothing that can be a little bit nicer. When you look at an AEO, this is another very attractive chart, American Eagle Outfitters. Both of them are also teen driven as far as who their consumers are. A lot of government entities are beginning to mandate school reopenings. So you will see a vibrancy of back to school clothing here with this stock. We'll take a look at one more and then we're going to have to take a break here. Let's go ahead and take a look at LB is LB Brands, and this has, of course, also been in a nice uptrend. Lingerie, this is all about, oh my goodness, I can't think of the name of it, but Victoria's Secret.
Yes, Victoria's Secret's part
of course, yes. And then also their candle, Bath Body Works, is also in a confirmed uptrend. So we're going to take a brief break, share some more stocks with you, and lots more. We'll be right back.
And we're back from our break. This is Erin Swenlin and Ellen McGonagle. We're here doing the Chartwise Women Show for you. We've been looking at recovery stocks going into the next couple of quarters because this is where we're starting to see a lot of movement. And we just were talking about some of the apparel retailers, and I had to get one in as well that came up on my scan.
You want to share your screen?
Sure, let me get over there. So one of the ones that I had noted that came up in my scans, I had a couple of them actually, but I'm going to look at Tilly's because you mentioned back to school, and this is, boy, when my girls were young, this was exactly where we went to go pick up their school clothes here in California. They do tend to have sort of, the trendy,
surfer vibe.
Surfer vibe, yes, exactly. And you can see a really nice little breakout that's come here. It had the breakout, it's pulled back just a little bit. And that PMO is turning upward. It's flattened out a little bit as we're consolidating, but that's okay. That's still healthy. RSI positive. And then you can see that it's been outperforming the S&P. It's getting a little bit more performance now. So I think it's looking pretty good, but this is just another one of them in that area.
Sure. Yeah, that's a wonderful example. And indeed, within these apparel, we're hearing management coming out and guiding higher. They're seeing a nice pickup. So there's anticipation. Analyst out of UBS said that he anticipates the rally to go into September. So yeah, hang tight. Yep. So great. I think from here, we were going to potentially move on to taking a look at stocks that are also in that retail space, but they are a little bit higher end, if you will. So I can go ahead and share my screen.
Sure, let's go for it.
You bet.
I know one of the ones on your list is the same as what came up on my scan. So why don't I just do that one? Oh, you've got it.
Sorry. Oh my goodness.
Talk about it. I could talk to your charts just as well as you can talk to mine.
Oh, absolutely perfect. Okay, here's a stock that I think we've talked about in the past. This company is known as Revolve, RLVL, and it is generally stocks that are designed for those that are headed out. And it's RVLV is the ticker symbol. And we can see, again, it's another name in this area that has had a significant uptrend. But what I'm keying in on here now is the fact that the stock had this pullback here in line with other high multiple growth stocks back to this 50-day simple moving average. And just this week has reversed its downtrend. The RSI is positive, and we can see this MACD. This is another momentum indicator, black line just poised to cross up through the red. And this is a key area really where you want this to take place. You can go back historically to this late February period and in fact see the nice uptrend that you had subsequent to that. And then another stock or name that we can look at that is higher end. They do traffic in luxury shoes, and this is Designer Brands, DBI. They're seeing a nice pickup where people are potentially going to be tossing their sneakers to the side and getting back into these dressier shoes, if you will. So DBI is in a nice uptrend. I would look for a little bit more of a pullback. We're coming out of a lengthy overbought period here, but certainly longer term, that uptrend is very, very much in place. And Erin, I do have a couple more, but you had a name to?
Sure. I have Guess was on my list. This one's come up in my scans probably the last 2 to 3 days. I keep seeing it, and I should have picked it, but it wasn't right, if you will, for me. I like to see a little bit more action, but it is looking great now, consolidating on those moving averages.
That's right. We're back up above those averages that can often act as resistance on the upside. And we're getting that nice, of course, MACD crossover there. So lots of interesting items technically that are taking place. And the company did come out. They beat their Q1 on April 1st. They came out with numbers, so that's that gap up there. They did come in above estimates with management guiding higher. So yeah, that's a great one. It is also part of that higher end. One other last name that we can both take a quick peek at here is Estee Lauder, of course, the purveyor of makeup. If we're going out, we want as women to look the part. And Estee Lauder owns a lot of different brands, but they are known primarily for higher end as far as who they cater to. And we can see the stock is poised to break out of a 2-month base here. So if we get some nice volume and break above these highs, I think we could be on to something.
Absolutely. That's been one of my favorite brands over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So get out there and support it, Erin. We want the stock to, we want to see that stock gap up on big volume.
Yes. I try to avoid makeup these days.
Well, yes, not when you
But
get,
if we're going to go out and we're going to wear our, Steve Madden shoes, which I think is what, SHOO, that's another one.
yeah, that's
Wear our Steve Madden shoes and put on our Ralph Lauren and enjoy ourselves.
One last one on this higher end that we can just take a quick look at. It's Urban Outfitters, another big winner in the 90s, but it's really coming back. They have a division called Anthropology, but Urban Outfitter itself does also have what they call higher end, and their management came out last week and said they are in fact seeing an improvement as far as sales. People do definitely appear to be gearing up. So this is one, Erin, as you said, not quite ripe for the picking. But what we are going to want to see is that black line up through the red. That's going to confirm, tell you that that downside momentum, similar to this period at the beginning of the year, has shifted, and then breaking back above these shorter term moving averages, we could be in for a nice another leg up there on that particular stock.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I think our next area we are going to take a look at. We're ready. We have the clothes. We're anxious to get out there. Where the heck do we go?
Yes, I think we're all excited for movie theaters to open.
Absolutely, yeah. And I believe AMC, where I am, is already open. There's one less than a mile away. But Erin, if you want to take
Sure.
the
I
screen
have
here.
one that came up on my scan. I'm going to pull it up here before I grab the screen. It just came up on my scan. I did see it yesterday as well. And that is Cinemark. And I know there's been more talk about AMC, certainly because it was part of the meme stock business. But you can see that Cinemark is looking pretty good now. You can see the new momentum shifting to the upside. You can see the volume starting to come in here as that OBV moved. And right now, we're getting a bit of a pullback, but we're holding that 20-day EMA. The RSI is positive and not at all overbought. And then when we look at some of the performance here of the industry group, it's on the rise. Cinemark against the S&P was already starting to outperform. It does look like it's hiccuping a little bit this week, but other than that, I mean, I think it's starting to look pretty good here.
Wow, I would agree. And it does look an awful lot like IMAX. And the reason I highlighted that one is because they just came out with their biggest domestic open in a year with Godzilla versus Kong. So big numbers there. Management is anticipating full theaters. Of course, they want to be optimistic, but certainly as we get closer to a safer reopening environment, but they've seen tremendous demand even during this phase as we are only slowly reopening. So that's one area. And then one last name is we can look at Drive Shack DS. This is a socially engaging golf related. They have putting. It's also an area where corporations often will have gatherings. So we're seeing that stock also. Actually, it's pulling back quite a bit today, but we're on the lookout and prowl for a potential breakout at some point with that particular name. So that is it. We've shared with you areas where you can go ahead and shop and places you can go to as we continue to reopen. We're going to move on to our last segment that we enjoy doing each and every week. It's called Yeah, That Happened. And yeah, this week it was all about a gentleman in his 50s from Texas who ran from Disneyland in California to Disney World in Florida. Oh my goodness. And I will say he first announced this in February of 2020, pre-pandemic. He thought it would take him about 90 days. It took 14 months. He just completed it this week. So kudos to him. From here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a couple of stocks that certainly names that I'm sure he would be very in tune with Nike. Looking at some of the sneaker wear. Actually, let's take a look at Skechers SKX, and that's going to be a little bit more vibrant as far as the stock being in a nice confirmed uptrend, charging to new highs. And those of you that work out, you may be familiar, but Skechers also has a lifestyle brand that is really taking off as well. And we can see your outside metrics are in bullish positions. And Erin, I don't know if you want to take a look at Disneyland.
Yes, Disney. Disney, I'm surprised because communication services are doing so well. And Disney's really kind of taken a turn for the worse here as it didn't get above that overhead resistance, as you can see. So far, it's holding on to that 50-day moving average, but I'm looking at that MACD and we are seeing it turn down beneath the signal line.
Two components taking place, and just harking back to that article, the gentleman did make it to Florida, but was not able to go to Disneyland when he was there. They're not reopened. Florida's having trouble. So I think some of that lack of reopening their parks is going to diminish growth elsewhere as far as their live streaming media area. So yes, one other name that we can take a look at as far as sharing stocks in line with this reopen. I'm trying to find my
Nike,
list.
did we look at Nike?
We did, yes, indeed. And there certainly are other stocks that we can take a look at. I think I was going to share kind of jokingly a restaurant stock with the idea, well, certainly if you're running, you're not going to go to McDonald's, but as far as stopping along the way as you are running. But I did want to share this stock simply because it is breaking out of this flat base here, and then more importantly, out of a very nice longer term base. They are continuing to revise their menus and seeing consistent growth, certainly with sales as it relates to delivery services there with this particular one. And I think we're getting close to running out of time here. But again, we, as always, would look forward to hearing from you if you have anything that you would like to hear about from us. We're always open to suggestions from our viewers. We all enjoy sharing with you what we're seeing in the markets and how you can get to them, these stocks that are poised to go ahead and outperform.
Yes, I think it's going to be really interesting moving forward to see the reopening and see how that's going to continue to affect what's going on in the stock market.
That's right. We'll stay on top of that and keep sharing with you what we're seeing. Everyone have a great weekend. We will see you next Thursday.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.